Joanna was sitting on the edge of the bed, trembling hands on her lap, staring intently at the window of her small room, where the orange light of the late afternoon insisted on coming in, even though the curtains tried to block it. At that moment, time seemed suspended, and her heart carried such a deep weariness that tears no longer found a way out. She felt that she had already lost all strength, all dreams, all hope that one day things would change. And it was on that boundary between faith and giving up that her whole story gained a new meaning. Joanna was a woman of faith. Since she was little, her mother had taught her that God had a purpose for every suffering, and that sooner or later, everyone would have trials and miracles in their lives. But it had been so long since Joanna had cried out for an answer that she began to question whether prayers really rose up to heaven or if they got stuck right there on the ceiling of her room. It had been years trying to get pregnant, facing treatments, exams, unsolicited advice, and the deafening silence of emptiness. Close friends and relatives commented, some offered consolation, others just pitying looks. "Joanna, don't give up," repeated Marta, her best friend, during another afternoon coffee. "Sometimes, God performs a miracle when we least expect it, in the most unlikely way." But Joanna no longer knew if she could believe it. Weeks turned into months, then years. She tried to distract herself with work and the small joys of everyday life. But every time she saw someone announce a pregnancy, she felt a tightness in her chest. The same question always came up: why not me? On a particularly difficult night, Joanna broke down. Alone, she knelt on the bedroom floor, placing everything before God, even her frustration. "Lord, I am tired," she said with a choked voice. "I pray, I wait, but nothing happens. I kept faith as much as I could, but I am exhausted. If it is your will that I never become a mother, I need you to help me accept it." Silence answered, and in it, Joanna felt as if she were embraced by her own vulnerability, almost convinced that she should give up. After that night, she made a decision. She would stop fighting alone and make room to live life, even if she did not understand God's plans. Shortly after, she was surprised by an unusual invitation from Marta. "Joanna, do you want to come with me to the shelter tomorrow? I'm going to bring some donations and play a little with the children." She hesitated for a moment. The topic of children was still delicate, but something in her friend's sincere gaze encouraged her. She agreed. The next day, the sun seemed more golden when they arrived at the shelter. Children laughed, ran, shouted. Joanna tried to keep her composure until a girl with curly hair and attentive eyes slowly approached. "Hi, are you new here?" he asked, hugging Joanna's legs. "I am," she replied with a shy smile. The immediate affinity dismantled any barrier. Joanna spent the afternoon playing, reading stories, and listening to the laughter of that girl named Sarah. She left with a light heart, feeling something inexplicable blossoming inside her. The days went by and Joanna began to visit the shelter frequently. She felt welcomed at home, as if each child offered her a little piece of the miracle she had long awaited. But it was Sarah who touched her the most. With a story marked by abandonment and pain, the girl became deeply attached to Joanna, as if she had always known that this woman was her safe haven. One afternoon, while they were playing at drawing, Sarah gently took Joanna's hand and looked into her eyes. "Can you be my mother?" Time stopped. Joanna's heart raced. Tears welled up, but it was different. They were tears of joy, mixed with the awe of divine providence. At that moment, she understood that God had not forgotten her. He had just prepared a different path for her miracle. The adoption process was not easy. It brought questions, uncertainties, and anxiety, but Joanna was no longer walking alone. Each challenge, each conversation, each signed paper was a step of faith guided by love. Marta continued to be a constant support. "See, Joanna, God surprises us," whispered the friend while holding her hands on the day of the final hearing. When finally before the judge, Joanna heard the long-awaited words, "Now you are officially Sarah's mother," it was as if all the waiting time and every prayer made in tears had found an answer. She hugged Sarah, feeling that her story of pain had at last turned into living hope. Today, Joanna does not understand all of God's plans, but she does not doubt that He was there the whole time, even in the silences, even in the longest waits. Seeing Sarah's smile and hearing her say, "Good night, Mommy," Joanna is reminded that, many times, the miracle does not arrive when we want it, nor in the way we imagine, but it comes, and when it arrives, it makes waiting completely worthwhile. And perhaps you, who hear this story, are tired of waiting for God. Maybe you feel that silence is all you receive, but remember, waiting is never in vain. Even when we think about giving up, God prepares paths invisible to our eyes, coloring our days with promises that are fulfilled at the right time. Do not give up. As Isaiah 40:31 says, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." Allow yourself to trust. The miracle is sometimes closer than you imagine. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it. God bless you.